We all want to protect the things that we love. For a father, that's his family, his business, and his reputation. But how do we do that when the thing that is the greatest threat to our family's survival is us? You hold it together for everyone else, at work, at church, and out in the world. But when you get home, something switches. And the people who deserve the best of you keep getting the worst of you, and you don't know why. And no matter what you do, you can't fix it. This video is for high-performing fathers, men who are successful in their careers but feel lost when it comes to connecting with their families. Maybe you deal with anger that's hurting your marriage and scaring your kids. Maybe you're about to get divorced and you've tried everything, but nothing has worked. Maybe your kids are afraid of you and you can't stand that feeling. Maybe you're living a double life, afraid that one day all of it is going to come out and everything that you built will come crashing to the ground. You've already tried anger management, journaling, breathing techniques, and you're still here, still hurting your family. Your bank account looks good, but your behavior is horrible. Maybe you're too afraid to speak up because nobody is listening to you anymore. You've broken your word too many times and you've destroyed your family's trust. If any of that sounds like you, this video is for you. If you're a man who has built something real but can't hold it together at home, you're in the right place. But if you're looking for a quick fix or you're not willing to do the real work, this video is not for you. If you think everyone else needs to change for you to get better, this video isn't for you. If you think your wife is the leader of your family, this isn't for you. If you think that you're not that bad and your family is just overreacting, this video isn't for you, my guy. If you think that because you make a lot of money, your family should just put up with you, this is not for you. This isn't about toxic masculinity either. This is about restoring the father to his rightful place as the head of the family and helping him be better so he can actually lead his family. All day long, you're performing. You manage stress, you hold it together at work, but when you come home, you let it all out on the people that you love most. Maybe you tried anger management thinking that it will help you control your reactions, but the frustration still comes up at home. Maybe you've read the self-help books and felt more overwhelmed than before. You feel like you're on a hamster wheel, exhausted, spinning, but never getting anywhere in your life. Think of it like a pressure cooker. You keep the lid on tight all day, managing stress and pressure. But when you take that lid off at home, all that built up steam, it releases. And the people that's closest to you, they feel all of it. Your wife and your kids, they get the version of you that's exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed. That guilt comes. You apologize. You promise to do better. You mean it every single time because you don't want to be this way. But then it happens again. The people who get the release are the ones who deserve it the least. Your wife and your kids, the very people you're working so hard to provide for and to protect. The man who held it together for strangers all day comes home and loses it with the people he loves most. And then the guilt sets in. You're stuck in this cycle, performing outside and releasing at home. I know that cycle because I've lived in it for years. I created the Unbreakable Father to find a way to break free, not just for myself, but for every father that's caught up in this same thing. I needed to build a place where men like us could come together, hold each other up, and hold each other accountable. That's when I created the Fatherhood. It's our inner circle, built specifically for high-performing fathers who are ready to do something about it. This isn't just another group. It's a structured community where you'll find the accountability and the support that you need. It's high ticket because it requires real commitment, not just money, but in yourself and for your family, and also in the energy and the time that you put in. If you're ready to do the work, this is where you'll find what you need. Go to my Instagram and DM me the word Unbreakable, and I'll get you all the details. My mission is super simple. My goal is to save as many families as I can. Everything in today's world seems built to destroy the family. One of the first things that God created was family. And that's why the devil and the people who run this world are working so hard to rip them apart. The only way I know how to fix the family is by fixing its leader. Just like a snake, If you want to kill it, you got to cut off its head. If you want to destroy the family, you have to destroy the father. It's time for real men to take their homes back. To do that, they have to become unbreakable. Unbreakable fathers create unbreakable families. I remember feeling like everything was falling apart in my life. My marriage was barely hanging on. My kids would jump when I raised my voice. I was under a lot of pressure from every direction, and a lot of the time, I didn't even have the strength to be able to handle it. I was a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a leader, and even a preacher. I was just like you. From the outside, it looked like I had it all together. People came to me for advice. They trusted me, but deep down, I was fighting a battle that nobody really could see. After every Sunday service, I didn't even want to go home for real because I knew Monday was coming. And Monday meant going back to the real world, where the man who preached about emotional control and leading with purpose were struggling to live that way at home. I was scared of being found out. I didn't want people to see the truth. The thought of losing my reputation, everything that I built, my marriage, my family, my businesses, it scared me. I was scared that if people saw the real me, it would destroy my reputation. And I thought that would kill me. So I worked harder, I provided more. I stayed extremely busy because I thought that if I just kept producing, nobody would look too closely at what was happening inside of me. As long as the house was nice, the bills were paid for, everything looked good on the outside, my kids were behaving properly and making good grades, nobody would notice the storm that was going on inside me. But the truth was, I was holding it together everywhere else except for my house. I had become so good at being the person everyone expected that I lost who I actually was. That mask that I wore in public made me lash out at home. A lot of fathers go through this, and it's the one thing that most of us hide or feel like we have to hide from the world. But I learned that to protect the people you love, you first have to face your own stuff. It starts with being honest about where you actually are in life. You can't be the father you want to be until you face what's going on the inside. It's about becoming the man you know you can be, not just for your family, but for yourself. It's time to step up and own that. I want to say something to you real quick. You're not a man who quit. You've been working hard at this. You've tried classes, seminars, counseling. You've read the books, downloaded the Calm app, made promises to yourself after the hard nights. You tried anger management, thinking that if you learned some new techniques, you could control your reactions better. But you still find yourself losing it over small things. Maybe you went to parenting workshops and left with more questions than answers. Maybe you listened to old Tony Robbins videos on YouTube and nothing changed. Or if it did, it didn't last anyways. Imagine your tire is flat. You got somewhere to be. You're already running late. But do you keep driving on a flat tire or do you stop and fix it? You stop and fix it, right? Because driving on a flat doesn't just slow you down, it makes everything worse in the end. The longer you drive, the more damage you do. Most of the solutions that you've tried are like putting a patch on a flat tire without putting air in it, or checking to see if the walls were damaged. They might give you a temporary fix, but they don't touch the real issue. Anger management, breathing exercises, counting to 10. Those aren't bad, but they only manage the symptoms. None of them actually fix what's causing the problem. If I hand you the best cookbook in the world, filled with every recipe that you could imagine, does that automatically make you a chef? No, because being a chef isn't just about having recipes. A chef has the skill to make them come to life. You've been collecting recipes for years, books, videos, frameworks, tips, strategies, tactics. But knowing what to do isn't the same as being able to do it, especially when you're already under a lot of pressure. The goal isn't just to know how to be a present father, it's to become one, to have that identity in you. If your heart starts beating fast and you feel lightheaded, do you Google your symptoms or do you go straight to a doctor? Because the internet has information, but a doctor has the skill to use that information to actually be able to help you. You've been Googling your symptoms for years, trying things that work for somebody else. Without the right diagnosis though, you'll keep treating the wrong thing. And I say that without judgment because I was in the same place for a long time. The problem isn't that you haven't tried hard enough. It's that everything you've tried has been aimed at the surface. at the behavior, at the symptoms. The real issue has always been deeper than that though. It's your identity, the old survival code that you've been running on. The way Clark Kent used to hide behind his glasses and a suit to blend in into a world where he has to perform. That's the mask that a lot of us have to wear every day. But underneath, we're dealing with fears, doubts, and pain that never get dealt with. Until you tackle the identity that's underneath, managing the surface will just leave you tired, frustrated, and exhausted. I want to walk you through what I call the trauma framework. I chose that word on purpose. Not because we're going to sit here and dwell on the past, but because trauma is what we're actually dealing with. It's the underlying code or the underlying program that got installed in you before you had any choice. And the only way to change what's happening on the outside is to deal with what's going on the inside. Think of it like an electrician. If your house is short-circuiting, the electrician doesn't just look at the outside of the house. He looks at the wiring inside to find out why it's malfunctioning. If you want to fix what's happening in your life and your family, you have to look at the wiring on the inside, the beliefs, the triggers, and the responses that are causing the problems in the first place. Trauma is a 6-step process. Each one builds on the last. T is for triggers. The first step is seeing and understanding what sets you off. Not just the obvious stuff, your kid talking back or your wife questioning a decision. I mean those moments where you snap and then you wonder why you reacted like that to something so small. In those moments, a trigger isn't just a reaction to what's in front of you. It's your nervous system connecting the present moment to an old wound. Something that happened years ago that feels similar to what's going on right now. Your brain fires the same response it did back then without you even thinking about it. Your brain is a prediction machine. It's built and designed to protect you. It does that by looking for patterns. That's why you don't even have to be thinking about that old pain to react the way that you did. But check this out. Your triggers, they're not weaknesses. They're just data. They show you where your identity is still trying to protect something that doesn't need protecting anymore. So the first step is just seeing them clearly, without shame, without judgment, because triggers are just data. All right, R is for responses. Once you know your triggers, the next step is seeing how you respond to them. See, most men fall into these patterns. You explode, you shut down, you overwork, you cope in ways that you haven't told anyone about. But here's what you have to understand about your responses. They made sense at one point. Those were strategies that you used to survive and to cope. They worked at one point, but now they're costing you the things that you care about the most. Your peace, your marriage, your relationships with your kids, your own self-worth, and your reputation. This is what I call the identity tax. Every time you go back to those old patterns and you let your triggers run your responses, you pay a tax on your identity. This tax isn't financial, it's emotional, it's psychological, it's behavioral. It's the sacrifice of your peace, your integrity, and your connection with your family. Every time you lose control or you react in a way that goes against who you want to be, you're chipping away at yourself. Over time, those payments begin to add up, and they create a weight that affects every part of your life. A is for acceptance. A lot of men want to skip this step because acceptance feels like making excuses, but I promise you it's not that at all. Acceptance is the mirror test. It's looking at yourself honestly and saying, this is where I actually am right now in my life. Not where you wish you were, not the version that you show everybody, the fake you, but the real you. And then saying this out loud. My original programming wasn't my fault. What I do with it now, though, is my responsibility. That second sentence is where all the power is. When you accept that this is yours to fix, not because you caused it, but because you're the only one who can change it, you stop being a victim of your own history and past, and you start being the author of what comes next in your life. All right, U is for understanding your emotions. Most men were never taught emotional literacy. We were taught to manage our emotions, suppress them, and even ignore them. But nobody taught us what they actually are or what they're trying to tell us. Your emotions are not the enemy. They're signals. They're your internal operating system trying to communicate with you. Anger is usually fear or pain wearing a disguise. Shutdown is usually overwhelmed with nowhere to go. The explosion at home is usually a collection of feelings that have been building up and finally found a way out. When you learn to read those signals instead of just reacting to them, everything changes. Because now you have a moment, a gap between what you feel and what you do. And in that gap is where the driver lives. That's where you start making decisions and choices instead of just reacting. That's where you're in control of your life instead of just allowing life to happen to you. All right, M is for mental clearing. This is what I call the brainwashing phase, but in a good way. We're finding the false beliefs that have been running your life and we're removing them so new ones can take their place. Things like, I'm only valuable when I'm producing. Sound familiar? Showing emotion means I'm weak. If people knew the real me, they would leave me. I have to handle everything by myself. Those aren't truths. Those are old stories that are replaying in your brain. They were written during the hard seasons of your life to help you survive. Now it's time to update that catalog. Give your brain some new stories to run. These stories control your decisions, whether you want them to or not. Mental clearing is finding those stories, exposing them for what they are, and replacing them with beliefs that belong to the man that you're becoming, not the man that you were trained to be. All right, and the sixth and final step, A, is for accountability. And this step is the one that makes everything sticks. You can't sustain this transformation alone. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot sustain this transformation by yourself. Not because you're not strong enough, because nobody is, not even me. It's not about willpower either. It's about structure. The reason most men go back to old patterns isn't because they don't want to change. It's because they're trying to change inside the same environment with the same pressures and nobody around them who understands what they're doing or why they're doing it. Accountability isn't about someone watching over your shoulder either. It's a brotherhood of men doing the same work that you're doing, who have your back and can see what you can't see. That's the final piece. And it's the one that determines whether any of this work is going to truly last. Now that's my top secret framework. Don't tell anybody. I use this in my coaching program to help high-performing fathers fix themselves. It's a process that I call identity transformation. I could have, just gate kept it, but I wanted to make sure that you walked away with something that could help you and your family right now. Now I want to talk to you about something important before we go any further. There's a misunderstanding or a misnomer in the coaching space that I want to clear up. And it's going to help you get more out of anything that you ever invest in, whether that's with me or anybody else. You know who Tom Brady is, right? Won more Super Bowls than any other quarterback in history. Some consider him the GOAT, but he didn't do any of that by himself. Bill Belichick played a huge role in the player that he became. Tom showed up every day ready to work. He studied the game. He was committed to being the best. But it was Bill who gave him the guidance, the strategy, and the accountability to get there. Bill didn't throw the passes for Tom. He didn't run the plays. He saw the blind spots and he helped Tom fix them. My role in this work is like Bill Belichick. Your role is like Tom Brady. I'm here to help you see what you can't see because you're in the game. But I want to be clear. I can't want this for you more than you want it for yourself. And I won't. Not because I don't care about you, because I care a lot. But if I want your transformation more than you do, I'm not coaching you anymore. Now I'm carrying you. And I don't want to carry anybody. And a man who gets carried never learns to walk on his own. That's not what we're here to do. The men who change doing this type of work show up ready to be coached. They do the reps. They don't get frustrated by the hard questions. They want to be held accountable. They give their best effort. They come ready to become unbreakable. When you bring your best and I bring mine, what happens is something special. But let's also be clear about what coaching isn't. It's not therapy. It's not a magic pill. It's not about feeling better just for a couple weeks. It's about real, lasting change. But that requires commitment. You're going to have to go deep and face things that you might not want to face. But I promise you though, it's worth it. When you're ready to do the work and take that first step, you'll find a brotherhood waiting for you. Together, we can build not just unbreakable fathers, but unbreakable families. Just DM me the word unbreakable and I got you. Before we go any further, I want to address something that I know is on most of y'all minds. I'd rather say it out loud than to try to act like it ain't even there. Some of you are thinking, I've tried stuff like this before and it didn't even work. I hear you. You put time and money into people and solutions that were supposed to help and they didn't deliver. That's real. I got you. And it makes it even harder for you to even want to try again. But here's what I want you to think about. Everything you tried before was most likely aimed At the surface level, the behaviors. And we just talked about how the surface level was never the real problem. Those things didn't fail you, they were just aimed in the wrong direction. Identity transformation, though, it goes a lot deeper than that. Some of you are thinking, I don't know if I can actually change. I want to tell you about this guy by the name of Clark Kent. Not Superman, Clark Kent. Clark Kent didn't need new powers. He already had everything he needed inside him. He just needed to step into his real identity. And that's always possible. I've never met a man who has gone too far. Now, I might have met some people who felt like they've gone too far, and that belief is the only thing that was actually stopping them from changing. Some of you are thinking, my situation is different though. It's too complicated, it's too much going on, too much has happened. I'm not going to tell you that your situation isn't hard. It might actually be really hard. But hard and impossible are not the same things. In my experience, the men with the most complicated histories make the most powerful transformations. Your story isn't a disqualifier. In a lot of ways, it's the qualification. Some of you are thinking, I don't have time for this. With all due respect though, you don't have time not to fix this. Your life, your marriage, your kids, your business, everything, your reputation is banking on this. Like I told you before, if your tire is flat, you don't keep driving on it because yeah, you might save some time if you can try to get where you're going without getting out and fixing it, but you're gonna cost yourself more time, more money, and more stress in the future. The longer this thing goes on, the more it's going to cost you. The more it's going to hurt your marriage. The more it's going to hurt your relationship with your kids. And the more it's going to destroy your health and your peace. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you how the math works out. When you let this thing go on for another year or 2 or 5 or 10, and some of you are thinking, I can't afford it. I hear you. But let me ask you something. What does the next 10 years look like in your life if nothing changes? What does your marriage look like? What do your kids have to carry in their adulthoods because they had to live with you? What does your own body and mind do under 10 more years of this stress, anxiety, and pressure? All of those fears are valid, but don't let them be the reason that you stay stuck. See, I grew up in an area where money was tight, and I noticed something from working with people over the years. The people who struggled to pay their bills always had the biggest TVs, the best shoes, and the nicest clothes, dressed better than I do. People find the money for the things that matter the most to them. That's why they'll stand outside a shoe store all night just to get a pair of J's because they really want them. So I gotta ask you, how bad do you really want to change? How bad do you really want a better marriage? How bad do you really want a better relationship with your kids? How bad do you want a better reputation? You're not alone in this, and you don't have to try to fix it by yourself. Remember, we've been talking about Clark Kent and Superman throughout this video, right? And I want to make sure that you have the right picture of what my goal actually is. See, a lot of men hear the word transformation and they picture becoming someone perfect, someone who never struggles, someone who never has a bad day, never makes a mistake, never gets angry again, never feels the weight or the pressure of everything on his shoulders. A man who has it all figured out and look like he has it all together. But that's not Superman. And that's not what we're building here. Superman has a flaw. He has a weakness, and it's called kryptonite. There are days when the weight of what he has to carry can bring Superman to his knees. He has to make hard calls and tough decisions all the time, and he doesn't get them right all the time. He knows what it feels like to be overwhelmed, pressured, and stressed by something nobody else can see. Real strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's having an identity that can hold the struggle without being defined by it. That's what being an unbreakable father actually is. Not a man without flaws, limits, or weaknesses. A man whose identity is bigger than his worst moments. A man who can have a hard day and not take it out on the people he loves. A man whose kids know that when daddy walks through the door, they're going to be safe. There's a Superman inside every father. I believe that with all my heart. He was always there. The work that we do together isn't about creating something new. It's about removing and getting rid of that Clark Kent identity and allowing Superman to drive this thing. It's about giving Superman more time in his rightful place. Clark Kent has never been the real you. He was a version of you that helped you survive, and you don't need him anymore. You get to live now. You're safe. You get to come home as the real man that your family needs. And I want you to know, it's not gonna happen all at once. It's not a switch that you just flip and everything just turns over overnight. It's a shift. Some days it'll feel natural. And other days you're going to feel like, man, I'm not Superman. And that's okay. It's not a failure. That's you being human. The goal is to stop attaching your identity to those old beliefs and survival patterns. And one day, Superman will just be who you are. and Clark Kent will no longer exist. That's what's possible for you. And I believe that it's closer than you actually think it is. Now, I know you've probably been watching this video waiting for me to make my pitch at the end. I get it. I've been pitched to a lot. I've been let down by a lot of coaches, let down by courses as well. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. And this coaching program is no different. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you want to work with me, it's cool. And if you don't, it's cool. Just go to my Instagram, man, at Marquez Pye. DM me the word Unbreakable in all caps, and I'll make sure to get you all the information that you need about the fatherhood coaching program. Now, I want you to know there's only 5 spots available. We're not taking any more applications for March. We're on to April. So if you want to work together, all you got to do is go to my Instagram, DM me the word Unbreakable, and I got you. Now check this out. You have the ability to change. It's time for you to step up and make this change for yourself and for your family. Do me a favor though before you go. If you stayed all the way to the end, you might as well like the video and go ahead and subscribe for your boy, man. And if you know a father who needs to hear this, share it with them, man. Don't leave your brother hanging. Remember, unbreakable fathers create unbreakable families. Peace.